Come, let us prepare. Make some good profits today. I'll keep this short, not feeling too well. 10:20 a.m. right here. Now, you saw this coming, isn't it? Once we identified the pink algorithm here. Now, this is 10:20. Just take a look. 10:20, we were about here. This was 10:20 a.m. 10:20. You see how the teal was somewhat in control. And I told you have to worry about the teal. And you see how the pink algorithm, just take a look at that, isn't it? Pink was just penny perfect in control here. A little bit later here, I will explain that in another video. But you see how the pink was building liquidity on the way up, especially this one here. Now, this one's very important. I want to explain that a little bit. But importantly, you have to understand the pink algorithm there. This is extremely important. So do study this, members, later on if you can. And especially this, when I explained, this was at 9:27 a.m. before market opens. I explained this. If you want to force trades, follow the trend, in this case going long, right? Whenever there is a large pullback, and you see the large pullback with the teal algorithm there, isn't it? And closer to the support levels, I told you to be very careful about teal, even though we were selling by magenta in the morning. Right, so you see magenta selling, that was great, yeah. But I told you have to. Now imagine you didn't have teal right there. It will be very difficult for you to understand why the bounce happened. But if you had teal, this becomes very simple, very easy to digest here. Right, because once we broke teal, you could also see an extremely beautiful head and shoulder pattern here, breaking out of that magenta as support too. As I also explained here at 10:21, isn't it? Immediately after this diagram, I showed you something else here. Right, 10:21, I want you to see this again. Teal, if you understood teal, right, if you knew magenta was in control as well, this became an extremely beautiful head and shoulder pattern, bouncing off magenta and teal, exactly as it is, isn't it? So study this, please, Discord members, and identifying this was quite crucial at 10:21. Once again, you can see it forming in advance. Doesn't mean that it will happen, right? But you can always prepare ahead. So when it happens, you don't have to spend too much time processing what's going on. You already are prepared because you know liquidity and how it works. Now, as I mentioned, there is that green algorithm here that's quite important, right? So allow the market to start building liquidity. That's absolutely fine. In the worst case scenario, it will just grind up in the green, right? So don't worry about that. Allow the market to build liquidity. Hopefully the market does something much easier for us, and that is to build liquidity like that. If there's to be continuation to go on, so you prepare ahead, right? As I mentioned, you wait for 5 days to start catching up, crossing through all the moving averages as well. And upper Bollinger is obviously a very clear target, and you want the bottom Bollinger to start catching up as well with the upper Bollinger too. Be very careful if we do build more liquidity here. There could be clear rejections here, right? Especially so this is great. Let the market build liquidity, as I tell you, and wait for the market to make moves. You don't have to be forcing trades. Now, remember, I told you about before we had that 20-point overnight run, right? Remember yesterday's video. Very importantly, I told you about this particular liquidity here, this one. Right, so you never despise liquidity, right? If you're able to identify this becomes very easy for you to understand. Please watch yesterday's video for this, right? Because we talked about this right here, 11:26 yesterday, and that's here. This was 11:26 a.m. yesterday. We already saw that coming because there was liquidity. You understand that, right? So this was a 30-minute chart, and just take a look, right? Bringing that up. So the point is, never despise liquidity building. So even if it's chopping, that's absolutely fine. Enjoy the chop, right? Let the market build structure. The only problem is if it grinds up, maybe a little difficult to take a trade, but because the range is quite large, you can see even this is 5 points, right? You still can be able to find lots of profits in the charts if you want to. So don't be too not this one, right? This is still very good 5 points. The market can still find good moves. You still can find good profits in the charts anyway. Right, so focus on this. If there's failed continuation, especially if we continue grinding up, that's actually not a bad thing. You want to wait for a tapering if it wants to head down. So allow the market to taper, and by then you may have some more clarity on the liquidity if it wants to head down. Now, obviously, if it wants to go up, I want to wait for a good structure here, 5-day to catch up. That will be ideal. I may not retest 200-day again. We'll see. Right? It depends obviously on a lot of catalysts that could be ahead, but the liquidity, you allow it to build and you'll be able to catch a move one way or another. So as we wrap up the week, just be careful of this green rhythm. You want to also be careful if we start grinding and tapering here near the top. So that is something you want to be careful about, especially if we were grinding in that green rhythm. Ideally, 5-day catches up. There is continuation. I do hope that we at least have some more continuation from this large move, because as I always mention, continuation always makes things easier. If it's easier, then that's great. The market's kind to us to retest the upper Bollinger here. But once again, there is no guarantees in trading. Do not be fooled into thinking you can guarantee anything. So even if you're in a good trade, you have to learn to protect as soon as you can, quickly get to stress-free state as soon as possible, because there is no guarantee. This is a live auction. People can put in orders anytime they want, but obviously they want to swim with the current, not against it, right? And that's the point of liquidity, because liquidity is like the current in the ocean. You want to swim together with it, not against it as much as possible. So you see how even large orders will try to be working together with liquidity. But the point is, just be finding profits in the charts. That's what you want to do, right? Some of you are up 100% and you decide, hey, you get greedy, you want it to go even more, and you lose it all because the market goes against you. But it didn't really go against you, did it? Right? You had 100%. So the point is, you had the wrong focus. You have to learn to find profits in the charts instead of thinking the market has to go a single direction, right? So, for example, some of you caught this trade here, or even this one. I can tell you this is a fantastic trade, even if you caught it, right? But no, you decide, the market's going to completely reject the 20-point range. What's going on in your mind if you're thinking like that? This is good money. Take the money, feed your family. You understand what I mean, right? And obviously, if you had the deal, you knew when to protect your trade. You knew exactly where you could protect your trade or take profits, because you had structure and you had the algorithms to your advantage. But no, you don't. And so as a result, you get boiled alive here. You understand what I'm trying to go at, right? So sometimes it's not the trade. Sometimes it's you. Fix it before you enter the trade. Don't stop losing money, right? Come, show up every day with me in the Discord server, right? Get to know yourself better each and every day. While you understand the technicals of the trades, you too get to know yourself a little bit better, how you can deal with the problems that you may have as a trader. And only then you start scaling up, once you can overcome all that. So don't worry, there's always profits to be found in the charts. The markets are open every day. Focus on what's important at this point, which most of you is learning, studying, and reviewing. And showing up, you need that habits and the discipline, and obviously learning how to recognize liquidity and the algorithms and structure, right? So let's wrap up the week strong. It's only the first full week of the new second quarter of the year. You can do this. All right, stay focused. Rain or shine, even if you're unwell like me, just show up for a while. All right, 5 minutes, show up, do your work. Do your review if you need to at the end of the day. You don't have to always show up on time. I know you have a day job, a schedule, but the point is develop a habit and do your absolute best. How much do you want this? You will reflect it in your habits and your behavior. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you closer to opening bell.